What does it mean that Manchester City secured it? What does it say about them?
That they're not going to stop, that they know they have to deliver big players because they have a big coach. And the minute he sees them lacking any desire to keep going, the chances are he'll disappear quicker than they would want. From a football perspective, it gives them, as Pablo was just saying, it just gives them another brilliant option. They've managed without a striker, a natural number 9 for a couple of years. Gabriel Jesus has scored goals of late. He's played on the wide positions. But Sergio Aguero is a different animal altogether. He was a real poacher. You know, anything in the box, he's on it in a flash, it's in the goal. This guy's a bit different, but it just gives them that option that they can throw crosses in early, get nice balls into the box. They can play it in behind if teams squeeze up, which doesn't happen that often. They can play it into his feet, he'll hold it up, and it's still part of his game that he can get better at. Because it's so important to hold the ball up for the likes of De Bruyne and Foden and all these guys coming onto it. So it just gives them so many different options. And it's also, look, they're not going to be reliant on it. And by that I mean, if he picks an injury up, like he has done at Dortmund, they know they can do it a different way. So it just gives them so many different options in terms of the way they play, in terms of the delivery into the box. And if he picks up an injury and he's out for a few weeks, guess what? They've managed to be successful without what we would consider a natural number 9.
And when it comes to signings, the feeling is that Manchester City are not done yet, even though they have got Erling Haaland coming next season. Can you see more players coming in, Jules?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the left-back position, even if you've got Cancelo there, obviously, who's been the best left-back in the country, with Robertson, one of the best in Europe. In terms of cover, and we saw that in the West Ham game, where Zinchenko, who's a good player, make 2 mistakes that cost 2 goals that could have cost City even more. I think there's some reinforcement to be done there. It will depend as well who's leaving. If Ilkay Gundogan was to leave the club, remember there's a lot of players here with just 1 year left on their contract. Sterling, Gundogan, Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus. What's the future for them? Of course, if they go this summer, they have to be replaced. But even in midfield, I think it feels like with Fernandinho leaving, it feels like you need maybe an extra player there, an extra body, whether it's someone that can do a bit of everything in that midfield, whether you want a proper holding midfielder to be the cover for Rodri or be able to play with Rodri. If you want someone to be more creative, I don't know, whatever profile they want, but you feel midfield as well is they will need someone, especially again if Gundogan leaves. So I expect quite a busy summer from City. And let's not forget that Julian Alvarez from Argentina and River Plate is also coming. Whether he's going to go on loan, that remains to be seen. But that's another attacking option that is very, very promising, certainly on paper and what he's been doing in South America already. So it's not just Erling Haaland. I think Alvarez has a lot to offer as well if Pep decides to keep him, to school him, to be fair, to fit into this City team. But then I think Alvarez could be a very, very intelligent signing as well.
Yeah, speaking of busy, I wonder just how busy Erling Haaland is going to be. We are setting the over or under at 30 goals per season across all competitions, Pablo. Does he go over 30 goals or under 30 goals next season?
In the Premier League's hard. I mean...
all competitions?
Under 30.
Under 30. Have you got a feeling on that, Craig?
I think he might just squeeze over if he remains fit and plays most of the season. Yeah, I do.
Jules?
I said just under. I think he will need a bit of time to adapt to the Premier League, but also to Pep and to the team. And I think they will adapt to him, but he will also adapt to them. So I can see maybe a slow start. I might be wrong. And like Pablo, just under 30 for the first season.
I wonder how his leadership skills are, because according to Patrice Evra, Man City are lacking leaders. This is what he said after their elimination in the Champions League to Real Madrid. He said Manchester City needs leaders, but Guardiola doesn't want leaders. He doesn't want any personalities. He's the leader. That is why when they have problems on the pitch, no one is there to help them. He chooses his teams to be like that. He doesn't want to train people with personality. So Guardiola has had his say back to this and said, I didn't see this kind of personality when we destroyed them in the Champions League final against United. Pablo, what's it like playing under Pep Guardiola?
Well, listen, I mean, I know Patrice. He's he's been at Man United for so many years. It must be, really tough for him to see that Man United side playing in that way. And I think he's wrong. I mean, we all know Pep. He's one of the greatest managers in the world. And I would never forget when he came in to the club. He was clear. He knew he needed to refresh the team. But he always want players with huge personality, because you always need players like that. I mean, you cannot say that Ruben Dias hasn't got that personality, or Fernandinho, or Kevin De Bruyne, or Gundogan, Rodri. They all have a huge personality. I mean, when Vincent Kompany was there, same. David Silva, Aguero, and they all been great under Pep. He made everyone better players. So I think I know Patrice, but I think he's not right.
Craig, what do you think of what Patrice
Well, listen,
said?
some of these ex-Man United players cease to amaze me how idiotic they can be, and they're almost like they're a mirror image of their team, just off the charts. I mean, let's be honest. Most of these ex-Man United players were on the train of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Give him time. This is a project. Across the city, we have one of, you can argue about, I think, Klopp and Guardiola, where your loyalties lie. I think they're the two best coaches on the planet. You can swing one way or the other, but as we're talking about Man City, almost every club would have them. Pablo just mentioned those names. All those guys they're all super international footballers at the highest level. They've all got their own personalities. They're not winning leagues at Man City and doing what they're doing for the country because they're sitting in the corner crying. They're doing it because they lead from the front. They play some of the best football. They sign some of the best players. He manages to manage these best players and manage to cajole them to not be playing every week. That's a difficult part. How do you keep a lot of these huge players on the bench, keep them happy, and then when you need to use them, they're ready to be used? That's an unbelievable skill. So that is just more nonsense out of the Manchester United camp, this time from ex-players.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.